so that he may be my consort.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and grab your biggest sword and pray to whichever god you believe in, because today we are looking at the 20 hardest Souls bosses. Now sure, you might have breezed through some of these, but just try to refrain from mentioning it in the comments, because I'm not impressed, and neither are your parents. That's so mean. Let's go. Laurence, the first vicar, Bloodborne. Laurence begins our list of possibly divisive Bloodborne bosses, as some see him as just another challenge, while others see him as the biggest ball ache that humanity has ever created. What makes this particular boss an absolute nightmare is his fire attacks and the absolute relentless nature in which they are thrown at the player. Found in the Hunter's Nightmare Cathedral, where Vicar Amelia was fought, Laurence is a giant pain whose third phase is especially punishing. He spews lava, turning the area into a deadly minefield that companions rarely survive. Love him or hate him, Laurence earns his spot on this list by creating many, many tears. Guardian Ape, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. The Guardian Ape is another infamous boss from an already punishing game, catching us off guard and racking up more deaths than I'd personally care to admit. There's something inherently bizarre about battling a massive monkey with a sword lodged in its neck that also continually farts on you and throws its poop, but the real challenge begins when the fight enters its second phase, transforming into an undead nightmare wielding its severed head and enormous sword. There's also a secret rematch which puts you up against two of these monstrosities, but you know what, even without that it'd still end up on this list. Lud and Zallen, Dark Souls 2. Meet Lud and Zallen, a pair of bosses that'll have you tearing out what little hair you've got left after Dark Souls 1. These optional tiger bosses reside in the frigid outskirts, part of the Crown of the Ivory King DLC, and they're an exercise in pure frustration. The real challenge isn't even the fight, it's the agonizing journey to the arena, and although this stretches the rules of the list a bit, I'm mentioning it because I wanna, and it's my list. Go away! If you survive the trek, your reward is a grueling fight against two incredibly irritating tigers, and frankly, they're not worth the effort. Lady Maria, Bloodborne.
Only an honest death will kill you now. From your wild curiosity.
Before Sekiro, many seasoned FromSoftware fans considered Bloodborne the pinnacle of Souls challenge. Among the myriad of terribly painful bosses is Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. Fights against other hunters are often the most intense in Bloodborne, and Maria is no exception. She's relentless in her aggression, unleashing lightning-fast attacks and devastating combos that push players to prioritize offense over defense. Don't even bother holding back, hit her till she stops. Her agility and ferocity make her one of the most brutal challenges in the genre. Manus, Father of the Abyss, Dark Souls. The final boss of the Dark Souls expansion gave us a glimpse of the series' future. Manus, a twisted monstrosity lurking in the deepest depths of the cursed city, is unlike anything else encountered in the rest of the game. He's fast, powerful, hard to dodge, and rarely telegraphs his moves, especially his magic. Some of his moves can strike you from behind, forcing you to sense their timing while keeping your focus on Manus himself. I mean, if that just isn't straight up gamer abuse, I don't know what is. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
That day, I pulled you from the battlefield, a starving cub. I had no idea what you'd become.
The encounter with Owl in Sekiro is one of the rare boss fights locked behind completing a special quest, and it's arguably among the most patience-testing battles to exist in video games. He unleashes a relentless barrage of attacks and combos that can quickly end a fight if you're caught off guard. And let's not forget a good amount of his moves are one-shot kills. Whose goddamn idea was that? What truly sets this fight apart is the second phase, where Owl introduces his Owl Summon. The summon flies around the arena, unleashing massive area of effect explosions, and even casting brief invisibility on both itself and Owl. Truly, this should be made illegal.
Defeated by my own son. It's not entirely unpleasant.
Bayle the Dread, Elden Ring. Elden Ring features two massive dragon bosses, and while both deserve recognition, we're focusing on Bayle. Like other dragons, Bayle's head is his weak point, but his relentless attacks make it nearly impossible to land a melee strike. This is where Eigon shines, drawing Bayle's attention so you can land critical hits. If you've unlocked Messmer's spear from his Remembrance Orb, this fight becomes significantly easier. Still, Bayle's second phase ups the stakes. His wings magically regenerate, boosting his agility and unleashing devastating flame attacks that are difficult to dodge without assistance. This is one of the fights on the list, like I discussed earlier, that I actually had a relatively easy time with, but the internet has expressed their hatred, and I am a man of the people. Ornstein and Smough, Dark Souls. Many fights in the Souls-like genre have tried to replicate the brutal challenge of Ornstein and Smough, but none quite match the intensity of this iconic battle. The hallmark of this fight is the little and large duo dynamic. Think about how many of those were in Elden Ring. Both opponents attack simultaneously, forcing you to constantly adapt, all while battling in a limited arena that leaves no room to maneuver. To make matters worse, this boss fight appears relatively early in the game when players lack high-level gear or stats, or skills, or patience, or confidence, or sleeping pills. It's a steep challenge that often becomes a stopping point for the less dedicated players, like me. Demon of Hatred, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. In terms of sheer challenge, Sekiro might be the toughest game in the entire Soulsborne series due to how much it demands from the player. Progress isn't possible unless you master the gameplay, which has more freedom and style than traditional Souls games. Just when you think you've got deflecting mastered, the game throws the Demon of Hatred at you. This optional late-game boss is infamous for forcing players to abandon Sekiro's usual combat style and instead take on what feels like a Dark Souls boss, without shields, heavy armor, or magic to make things easier. For those looking for a shortcut, climbing the walls and tricking the demon into falling off the ledge is not only effective, but far more satisfying than enduring a grueling 40-minute battle with this raging, fire-filled nightmare. Fume Knight, Dark Souls 2. This boss fight in Dark Souls 2 is a true test of skill, demanding precise dodges to navigate its relentless attacks, which boast impressive range. The intensity ramps up even further in the second phase, where the Fume Knight ignites their great sword with flames, turning an already tough battle into a tough battle, but his fucking sword is on fire. If your stamina or HP isn't up to par, even a single mistake can lead to instant death. Fume Knight is arguably the toughest boss in Dark Souls 2. Maliketh the Black Blade Elden Ring. In Elden Ring, Maliketh the Black Blade delivers one of the game's most cinematic boss battles, but even if it's pretty, it doesn't change how much I want to slam my PS5 into a wall. Maliketh is blisteringly fast, effortlessly covering ground across the arena. He combines devastating ranged attacks with relentless physical combo strings. This fight is as visually stunning as it is demanding, making it one of the many standouts across the long campaign. Ludwig the Accursed and Holy Blade Bloodborne.
The great terror looms.
Ludwig the Accursed and Holy Blade is a name covered in dread throughout the ominous texts of Bloodborne, and his fight in the Old Hunters DLC fully delivers on that build-up. I don't really read in video games because I've got ADHD, so when he showed up, I didn't know a grotesque abomination perfectly suited to the game's bleak gothic fantasy. Ludwig's combat style is as horrifying as his appearance. Ludwig fights with unrelenting ferocity, unleashing unpredictable attack patterns that keep players constantly on edge. The battle becomes even more intense in his second phase, surprise surprise, where he wields the iconic Moonlight Greatsword, introducing new attacks designed to disorient and challenge anyone who's stupid enough to try this DLC. Messmer the Impaler Elden Ring.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of life?
Messmer the Impaler is the first major skill check of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Divine Beast Dancing Lion was the first boss battle that requires a bit of skill, but once accomplished, we assumed this was the standard. Wrong. Messmer isn't just a boss, he's practically the mascot of the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, as his cruelty defines the DLC's grim tone. His primary weapon is ancient flame magic, which he wields alongside the eerie presence of an abyssal snake hovering ominously above him. That goddamn snake. Guess what? Messmer comes with two phases, and the fight truly escalates in his second form. Shedding his skin, he transforms into a man-serpent hybrid, ramping up both speed and chaos. In this form, he unleashes waves of fire, summons colossal serpent heads to attack independently, and zips across the battlefield in a relentless assault. It's simply too much, and when I finally bet him, I bought myself a steak dinner. Darkeater Midir, Dark Souls 3. The Ringed City not only provided a fitting conclusion to the series' dark fantasy narrative, but also introduced one of its most punishing optional bosses. Darkeater Midir raises the stakes for even the most seasoned players. In any Soulsborne game, avoiding damage is crucial, but against Midir, even the thought of tanking hits becomes a death sentence. With a staggering health pool and an arsenal of devastating area of effect attacks, Midir is a relentless test of patience, precision, and careful strategy. I'll have you know, this is one of those few bosses that I've just straight up given up on. I don't want to finish him, and I don't need to. Good night. Nameless King, Dark Souls 3. While some Souls bosses failed to live up to expectation, the Nameless King encapsulates everything that's brilliant about the final entry in the Dark Souls trilogy. The battle begins with the King of the Storm, and landing a hit can be difficult as you need to get close to his steed's head to inflict any real damage. In the meantime, he'll swoop around the arena launching devastating lightning and physical attacks. Guess what the warm-up is? The first phase. Shocker. The Nameless King's attacks are slow and heavy, but they come at you relentlessly, requiring precise timing for dodging. It's the kind of fight where a single mistake could spell the end. Sister Friede, Dark Souls 3.
Bring Friede to me, please.
With a series of epic battles, Sister Friede stands out as one of the most nightmarish encounters in Dark Souls 3. Sister Friede takes the Bloodborne influence to a whole new level with a brutal 3-phase boss battle that likely caught many players off guard at release. She delivers massive damage in each phase, inflicts status effects, and uses her manipulated father of Ariandel to unleash devastating area of effect attacks. Those damn area of effect attacks. Malenia, Blade of Miquella, Elden Ring.
Heed my words. I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella.
While Elden Ring may be more accessible than other Souls games due to its open world design, its toughest battles are not any easier than other Souls games. Malenia challenges players with a lightning fast, powerful moveset, and most of her hits inflict Scarlet Rot buildup. You'll be taking damage even when you aren't taking damage. On its own, this would already make for a tough fight, but her infamous waterfowl dance skill takes things to another level. Malenia's ability to heal herself with every successful strike can prolong the battle indefinitely, forcing players to be nearly flawless in their execution. Orphan of Kos, Bloodborne. The Orphan of Kos, the climactic encounter in the Old Hunters DLC, is a boss fight that's as unforgettable as it is hemorrhoid-inducing. Embodying Bloodborne's core themes of gothic despair, the Orphan of Kos is an unnerving presence. Overcoming the sheer intimidation of this grotesque being is a feat in itself because it looks disgusting. The Orphan is wildly agile, ferociously strong, and lethal both at a distance and up close. Also, he wields his mother's placenta as a grotesque weapon, which is way up there on the list of the most disgusting weapons. Not that a mother's placenta is disgusting, it's just this one particular mother. Radahn, Consort of Miquella, Elden Ring.
So that he may be my consort.
Radahn is one of the rare bosses you'll face twice, first as a corrupted brute in the base game of Elden Ring, and next at the end of the Shadow of Erdtree DLC in his fully human form. Radahn flies around the arena with blinding speed, unleashing relentless attack combos that leave little time to recover. And as always, the real nightmare begins once you bring him down to 50% health. At this point, Miquella joins the battle. The duo's cooperation is devastating. Miquella's attacks rain from above while Radahn relentlessly pressures you on the ground. And then of course there's the devastating combined one-shot kill ability, if it wasn't already annoying enough.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Sword Saint Isshin, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Sword Saint Isshin takes a turn that is unmatched in any other Souls game. The fight starts deceptively simple with a manageable first phase, but things escalate rapidly from there. In the second phase, Isshin unleashes a vast arsenal of devastating attacks, chaining them together unpredictably and at basically an unmanageable pace. Evading and parrying these moves becomes a true test of reflexes and composure. And if you think retreating to regroup is an option, Isshin quickly reminds you otherwise by drawing a gun and ensuring there's no respite. Uh-oh, third phase. This phase introduces even more chaos. The sheer intensity and variety of Isshin's attacks make this battle Sekiro's ultimate challenge and cement it as one of the hardest fights in the entire Souls genre. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos.